And other times you invest, 10 different coins at the slot machine, you keep yanking it, and you get nothing back, and you're like, what's going on? I'm not trying to punch the air out of aggression. I'm pulling that thing, I'm trying to get some of that money back, like, that's how. Hey, it's Lance McGowan here, and welcome to part 3 and the finale of the little saga that I had with another individual whose name will not be mentioned, but he was a marketing person who runs ads for businesses locally here in Las Vegas. I met him at a networking event. So if you haven't watched part 2 and part 1, make sure to go do that. I will have those links in the description below so you can check those out if you want to, maybe learn some best practices or mistakes to avoid in conversating with people in general. And the reason why I'm covering this is hopefully you can learn from the situation. And I know I did, and it's helpful, right? It's just helpful to be able to have conflict resolution skills, not just with your baby mama, your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whoever, but with other people in general, because whenever there's people, there's going to be problems. Let's just keep it real. All right, so here is part 3 that I'm going to read, and this was after we had met a couple times. He sent 2 emails, and this is the final email he had sent to me. Whew, like he would, okay. We're going to read it. I'll let you, think whatever you want to think. Here we go. He says, wow, exclamation point. All large fonts and bolder text. I'm not really sure. I mean, I sometimes highlight stuff, but okay. He says, I'm surprised you didn't use all caps to scream at me. Okay, he need a hug or something? Like what? Anyways, he says, notice that I will only be using non-bold 11-point Calibri font. I don't even know where this is going. Like, is this passive aggressive or what? Question mark? He says, very pleasing to the eye and takes up less space on the canvas. Are we talking about typing a letter? Like, what? Art class? Like, when I saw this, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, this is an out of scope argument to what we were talking about. And he just further solidified me not wanting to ever work with him or give him a referral. That's for sure. That's for sure. But this is the real. Like, this is the type of stuff that you may not see in other videos because people are like, oh, everything's good. It's just like, not everything is always good. Like, we need to talk about this stuff because this is like therapy for me. But also at the same time, you'd probably be like, dang, that dude was crazy. Or you may be like, dang, I know somebody like that. Well, how did Lance handle that? And you may be like, well, Lance handled it good on this way, maybe not this way, or maybe, yeah, he knocked it out of the park, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm trying to handle it as reasonably as I can, and I like to think I'm the most reasonable person I know, which I do know a decent amount of people, but at the same time, you may be like, well, that ain't my style, but I'm saying it's not about style. It's about trying to be reasonable, which is focusing on the truth and seeking understanding, which is biblical. That's in Proverbs, so we can talk about that all day, the wise person and the fool. I'm just trying to be wise, and here we go. He says, you are possibly right in your assessment that I might be drawing inaccurate... He says, you are possibly right in your assessment that I might be drawing inaccurate conclusions, but your explanation of all the marketing companies that you've talked to over time and not retaining any of them leaves a long trail of intuition running through my mind. Okay, I only worked with one other person and met with a lot of others and it didn't work out, so it didn't work out, like we didn't even start anything, so like, Anyways, he says, I'm not in the business of giving away consulting services and you gave me that impression. The only thing I gave you was the real. Okay, like I'm giving everyone who's watching this video. So, more meetings and more information. No. So typically, okay, so one thing I did learn from my last marketing guy, or business partner if you want to call it that, is typically it's helpful to get the what and the why from someone. Like, what marketing things are you going to do and why are they important? But the how to do it is what you pay somebody for. This individual didn't think of that way. He's like, no, I need to get paid for everything I do. And I'm like, well, just like with essential oils in my business that I shared, like sometimes you give them a sample, whether it be education, a social media post, a phone call, so that way you build a relationship with people and that trust. And he's just like, no, I need to get paid. And then he raises prices on me in the last video that I talked about. So it's just like, dang, dude, like, all right, calm down. He needs the essential oils, that's for sure, for some stress management. All right. He said, Putting tactics down on paper. Why would you need me after that? He says, I've already gave you enough tactics to give you a great path to success, i.e. focus and a clear path to the promised land of your website. Most clients, after meeting for a couple of times, want to know when I need the first payment. Sounds like somebody's really focused on this and not a whole bunch of adding value or communicating in a way that's respectful and reasonable. He said, also, I had drawn the conclusion in front of you when we first met of your previous agency vendor. Okay, so he just rehashing stuff, let's just open the wound and dig in it. Okay, he says that he left because he wasn't making money. I think it wasn't apparent to you of why he left, but I can tell you if there's no money in a business transaction, the relationship will not work. Well, like I said in the previous videos, we agreed upon that, especially because I was footing the costs of marketing expenses and using his marketing expertise and mine to try to grow a business that we developed together. And then he left me and ghosted me because maybe one reason is because he was making more money other places, but how he left that business partnership was not what I agreed with. Like, ghosting somebody after you've been working with them for over a year is not really respectful or professional. Like, it should have been like, hey, I'm gonna work with this company going forward. Thank you for partnering with me. I hope that's okay. If there's a good fit for us in the future, let me know, and we can work out like maybe some type of pricing plan, because I gotta pay bills and I gotta eat, Lance. You know what I'm saying? And I'd have been like, okay, cool, I respect that. Appreciate you for letting me know. But no, I got ghosted, and this individual tried to use that whole situation against me, and I'm like, bro, like, come on now, that ain't how you do business, okay? Come on now. This individual then goes on to say, that's the capitalist society at its best. He was probably tired of putting tactics down on paper and not receiving compensation. That could have been one factor, but I'll never know because he ghosted me. So, again, speculation. FYI, I'm not going to read your example from the other marketing company. So therefore, I already know he's unreasonable because, as this book talks about right here, How to Solve Your People Problems by Alan Godwin, link in the description below. It talks about when you're reasonable, you are wanting to seek understanding and you're wanting to seek the truth. When you are being unreasonable, this individual, you just want to be right, you just want to win, you focus on the problem, blaming, shaming, and staging dramas to take any personal responsibility. And it's just like, how old are we? That's what little toddlers do. You are, I think he's like in his 50s, but just because you're up there in age don't mean you're up there in maturity, because we all know that there's emotional maturity, there's physical maturity, there's relationship maturity, there's spiritual maturity, there's financial maturity. A lot of maturities, and we don't all grow in the same areas at the same time, because I'll tell you what, communications and conflict resolution, I'm not there yet either. I'm not saying I have it all together. I make mistakes all the time. I'm just saying at least I'm trying to honor biblical principles and proverbs and try to be reasonable with people and work with them and seek understanding and speak the truth. I'm trying, okay? I'm trying. And this is the result of that, because when I keep it real, it's polarizing, meaning I get lovers and I get haters, right? Haters. And then he goes on to say of not wanting to, look at the resource I gave him, which is actually the best practice with that case study from another marketing company. But anyways, he says, none of my business. Actually, it is your business, because being open to seeking understanding of the truth is a very valuable asset and skill set to have in your repertoire of who you are. Okay. He says, my business model is completely different. Okay. Are you implying that it's better? Because I certainly don't like the attitude. I mean, okay. He says, I personally like you and enjoy our conversations. I appreciate it. I do try to, keep it real with people, and I believe I bring a lot to the table, but at the same time, this is not a fit. Obviously, he's, trying to like lash out and stuff too. This is a perfect segue into the quote that I saw, and this is from Socrates. He says, when the debate is lost, not lost, slander becomes the tool of the loser. And I don't like to focus on winners and losers too much, but I'm just saying, like, basically when you don't have a strong argument, then you're going to resort to just tearing people down. And I think that's definitely what he tried to do. And it's just like, that's not what you do, man. You trying to burn a bridge? Like, what's up? Because You did. I see the flame still on the bridge, and I'm like, dang, stop putting kerosene. That's gonna make it go. He then goes on to say, I don't like being made to feel as though my services are a commodity. If we could come to that agreement, I think I could be of great help to you. Your characterization of my being defensive might also be true. It is true, okay? It is true. I've studied what defensiveness looks like, and it's this, okay? That when confronted with the intuition that is negative, the best situation is to immediately confront the situation. Yes, but how you confront situations is also important, okay? Let's continue. He says, you might say that's negative or defensive for your side, but it's very positive to get that out into the forefront immediately from my side. I'm not dissing what you said, although that is part of the issue. I am talking about how it was said, which you can see in part 1 and part 2 of this video series, and in this email clearly. So attacking someone's past, attacking the person instead of the problem, you know, raising your prices as a countermeasure, you know, using these weird, like, I like you, but, you know, it's just like, come on now, like, let's focus on the problem, okay? I had some things I just wanted some information from him. He didn't want to do it. Seemed like a little power struggle, and then he lashed out. And like that Socrates quote said, when they're losing debate, they're going to resort to personal attacks, and I'm like, I ain't about that. So I don't do that to other people, but I will analyze the heck out of an email that I received from somebody who went in on me and then go in on them, but then, you know, try to pull out some learnings too. So that's the best thing we can do. All right. He says, if I'm going to be working with someone hand in hand over a long period of time, not in this case, and invest my time and effort, then I will not become an employee of that person. Okay, but you will become an independent contractor, which is kind of like an employee without benefits, so I'm not sure what his point is of that. Maybe he's saying I don't want to be controlled. I don't know, maybe that's it. I don't try to control people. Like, I'm trying to have conversation with people and let them know, here's what I'm trying to clarify expectation-wise, here's what the work is involved, here's what I'd like to see from you, what do you need from me, and let's go. Let's work with each other. But he ain't want to do none of that, so that's why I was just like, no. He says, I've tried that and decided that it's instead best to work with other clients on a level playing field. That's what I tried to do, but he didn't want to. He says, you would be retaining me to produce efforts, not to have me constantly update you with more tactics on paper. I mean, marketing is risky because you really don't know if it's going to produce a return on your investment and be profitable, because that's really, and in a time frame that makes sense, because it's going to take 5 years to do it and take $50,000, or we're going to do it in 5 months and it costs $5,000. Like, we don't know. Marketing, you know, it's based on what, you know, creative you have, what the text says. Do you run ads? Do you do organic? Do you partner with local businesses? I mean, there's so much stuff with marketing that it's hard, and there is no guarantees, and I totally understand that aspect of it. Some people hit it big, hit it quick, and make a lot of money and return on their investment, and they just scale up and just throw money in ads and their, you know, whatever works, and they just get money back. It's like putting $1 into the slot machine and cranking the lever, and you get $3 back, and you're like, well, how many dollar coins can I find, because this is working? And other times you invest, you know, 10 different coins in the slot machine, you keep yanking it, and you get nothing back, and you're like, what's going on? I'm not trying to punch the air out of you know, aggression. I'm pulling that thing up, trying to get some of that money back, you know. Like, that's how marketing feels like sometimes. Yeah, at least for me. Okay. I'm just keeping it real with y'all on this one. Alright, so here we go. He then says, you would have the right to not retain me if you reasonably felt that I wasn't producing. Okay, he's using the word reasonably, but clearly wasn't reasonable in a lot of what he was saying, so I'm not really sure what that means. We need key performance metrics, all right, and accountability. And if you don't like that level of scrutiny, then you need to go, right? Because we got to produce results when it comes to money being spent. That's hard. My hard-earned money that I'll be spending $700 to $1,200 a month on you, just him, not the advertising. Still got to spend double, sometimes triple of that. I mean, that's some money right there, all right? And it's okay if it's scaling. If it's scaling and making money, it's not a problem. But to get to that point, it costs, you know, a decent amount of money. It's like college. You go to college for 4 years, throwing all this money in there if you don't have a scholarship or whatever. And after that, you trying to make your money back over the next 5, 10, 20 years. And you're like, dang, that don't seem like a good investment. Well, it depends. If you work at Starbucks after college, maybe not. But if you work at, you know, engineering or doctor, or even then, you know, it's going to take a lot of money to pay back all the loans. But the point I'm trying to make is, college, you invest a lot of money up front, and you don't see that money back for numerous years after college graduation, after you've even gotten the job that's producing money, because you still got to pay bills, and some people be going on vacations and doing stuff that just eats away at the money that they would pay back for their loan. So we ain't going into a financial services class, but anyways, here we go. He says, that's the whole idea, Lance. I work to improve your marketing, and you work on providing content and talent to succeed. He says, I'm not going to tell you how to give a speech in front of a large audience. That's for you to muddle through. First of all, I don't muddle through that. I handle that like a boss. No, I'm just kidding. First of all, I don't muddle through that. I just do that because I've had a lot of practice and education and training. But anyways, he says, my goal is to get you in front of that large audience. Okay. And I'm like, all right. Not with that attitude. Okay. He says, if one thing is true from all of this, you will learn a lot from the books that I suggested to you. And I am learning a lot from the .com Secrets and Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson. All I did was pay for shipping. So that was a pretty cool deal. Links up for those will be in the description below. He says, that was given to you from God himself. Not really sure how that's verifiable, but anyways, I mean, God created everything, yes, even people and books, and the Holy Spirit could have been working through somebody, but if you're acting unreasonable, that is very not Christ-like. So I'm not really sure where that statement comes from. So anyways, he says, enjoy the books, best wishes, Lance, exclamation point. And that was the last that he said. And then I followed up and said, thank you for the rebuttal. Sounds like you're being unreasonable and coming to inaccurate conclusions again, based on limited information and not seeking understanding. So the best thing I can do is recommend the book below and wish you the best. So I gave that, and I gave him a link to the book that I probably refer the most, which is How to Solve Your People Problems by Alan Godwin. Because if you got people in your life, you're going to have problems. That book helps you navigate that very fact-based, very practically. It's like a very practical, fact-based book, and with stories and analogies, and you're just like, dang, I should have had this when I was younger, but I didn't. But yeah, that's an amazing book, and the learning lessons from all of this is that whether it be personal relationships, romantic relationships, friends, business partners, employees, employers, whoever it is, whenever there's people, there's going to be problems, and it's so important to know how to navigate those through the ups and the downs, when there's agreements or whether there's disagreements, whether there's likes or dislikes. And I've learned that conflict resolution skills is not a sexy topic, and it's something that the vast majority of people, I will say almost all people, don't know how to do well, and it's only a problem until it's a problem. It's only when that person lets you down that you go in on them. It's only when, somebody does something that you don't like, then you really go in on them and you attack their personhood or their character and stuff like that. And it's just like, no, we need to understand what the problem is, attack the problem, not the person, try to find solutions, try to work with people, and basically that's it. And this book right here, How to Solve Your People Problems, talks about that tremendously. Like, see how thick it is? You may be like, well, Lance, I don't like to read. There's some videos on it. Just type in, Google search, YouTube search, Alan Godwin, How to Solve Your People Problems, right here. Just Google, YouTube search, any of that if you don't like to read, and just watch the videos that are associated with it. It is not the same as reading the book, but it is still pretty good, and you get an idea. And that, I'm telling you, like, relationships, health, and finances are the three things that people care about the most. And relationships is typically like, well, let's boyfriend, girlfriend, or let's married, and it's just in kids. And it's just like, well, what about the conflict? Oh, we'll just worry about that when it happens. It's just like, no, we need to have a game plan on how we, like rules of engagement, so we don't be yelling and screaming and calling each other out their name and being all negative and stuff. We need to, we need to have a way to handle conflict, manage it, weather the storm, so that when the storm is coming and you got your little surfboard, instead of just getting destroyed by the storm or the conflict, you can be like, oh, I can just ride the waves. I can just ride the waves because I know how to have conflict resolution skills and actually implement those. That's the whole point of all this. And this was more of an email version of that, but that's the only thing I can give you because he's not right here, and nor do I want him to be, having a conversation and breakdown of what we should have did or not done better. And for me, that's just it. The learning is we need to have better conflict resolution skills, and it don't matter how old you are, we can always improve. That's it. Well, that concludes today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click the like button if you did. Share this video with somebody that would benefit from it. And most importantly, check out these links in the description below so you can watch part 1, part 2 if you haven't already done so. Check out the book resources that I gave. And really just, just help yourself with regards to just continuous improvement, personal development, introspection, all the things that are super important to becoming our best version of ourselves. And I will see you in the next video.